Hello, beautiful people. How are you doing on this fine day? Sorry, it's been a while. If you're new here, hi, I am.
The bookworm.
And here we do things to do with books and game books. Today, I am here to talk about Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. Now, in the UK, this was published this year. I believe it was last month. I know in the US, it was released last year, way early last year. So it took some time for it to come around here. It's 367 pages of paranormal horror. And this book is going to live rent-free in my head for a long time. Oof. The story revolves around an 8-year-old girl named Bella and her family, and this other entity that has been coming to Bella for a long time, known as the Other Mother.
Oof.
And it gets to a point where things are starting to happen around the house. Like, not just that the parents are noticing now, but even friends who have come over. And it gets to a point where this other mother is eventually seen. Pretty fast, by the way. Pretty fast. And then it's just this it's just this ball rolling down a hill straight afterwards of just everything and anything that could possibly happen happens to not only Bella, but to the family as well. It also revolves not just around the other mother, this entity, but also the dynamic of the family and things that are happening with the family. And it's all in the point of view of this 8-year-old girl, and it is written as like a child has written it in a way. And when I first read it, it was jolting because I'm not used to reading things in such a way like this. And the layout of the pages as well. But as soon as you get past that, which was very fast for me, by the way, absolutely brilliant. Let me just read you the blurb on the back of this very quickly. Other Mummy has a question, and it's time for Bella to answer. To 8-year-old Bella, her family is her world. There's Mummy, Dado, and Grandma Ruth. There is also Other Mummy, a malevolent entity that asks her every day, "Can I go inside your heart?" When horrifying incidents around the house signal that Other Mummy is growing tired of asking Bella the same question over and over, Bella begins to understand that, unless she says yes, her family will soon pay. Other Mummy is getting restless, stronger, older, and the bonds of family can keep Bella safe, but the incidents are revealing cracks in her parents' marriage. The safety Bella relies on is about to unravel, and Other Mummy needs an answer. The plot itself, even though it's from the point of view of an 8-year-old girl throughout the whole thing, it's really smooth. And I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest, when I say that it's really smooth. It's completely smooth how it all flows and goes together, but when you get towards the end, when some things happen, certain things happen, it's jagged, sharp and harsh, and it's sad at the same time because of what it also represents. There's a lot of things about this book that people think it's one thing, some people are just confused, and then some people think it's also another thing, and I'll get into that later on. But yeah, we've got characters, we've got Bella, the little girl who we basically are reading through. We've got Mummy, which is known as Ursula. Dado, who I originally thought when I first read it, she was calling him Daddy-O. But we've got Dado. I don't know why she calls him Dado, but Dado, and he's pretty much like her best friend instead of like this father figure in a weird way. Like how you have the good parent and the bad parent. In some places, like, the mother can be a little bit more harsh, which isn't a bad thing, but the dad is pretty much the best friend who will cave. We have Grandma Ruth, which is Ursula's mum, and I absolutely adore the grandma in this. She's this sweet, strong figure in all of the lives of the characters, and she kind of knocks logic into everyone in a good way, in a harsh but good way. There's love there, but sometimes she needs to be a little bit of harsh love, and it's needed in this story considering what's going on, because it is a mindfuck. It is a pure mindfuck. Re-readability, I will absolutely read this again numerous times, because there's some things that I had to reread the ending a few times because I was one of the people who was confused with the ending. I wasn't impressed by it, but when I went back to read it like a second time and a third time, it was brilliant. It was very well done. It was a shot in the dark, I would say, for some authors, but Josh kind of really hit it home, to be honest, with the ending, especially with some of the things that people think it represents, which is interesting. So my thoughts on this. First of all, originally I put it as 4 stars. I'm going to keep it as 4 stars. Just because when it gets towards the ending, it's just, let me show you. It's this for about 30 pages, maybe even more. Just lines and lines and lines of explanations of someone trying to do something. That sounds terrible, especially when I'm going to go into it. So what most people think about this book is that it's all about this entity, the other mother. It could be a demon, a ghost, or a devil. They don't know. It's never really touched upon, but it's just this other entity that is there with Bella. And it keeps asking Bella if it can go into her heart, and how reincarnation, where they would swap places for a lifetime. So people go with possession and stuff like that. And it works on the same things as what, like if there's something like demonic, you would get that horrid smell which other mother starts to bring, and all these other things of things moving, the noises, things being moved, things being touched, the following. Now the main thing is that other mother does not haunt the house. She's obviously following Bella. And I say she for other mother. Other mother is described as this huge hulking figure that, when standing in a room, basically has to hunch over like a deflated balloon at the top, because other mother is too tall. Other mother has long, like, I think they said long dark hair. Also described as not really a woman, not really a man. Has a strange voice that Bella can't even describe, but she doesn't like the other mother's voice. But has dark hair kind of like all over the arms and legs and stuff like that, and it's really, really weird and uncomfortable. What's really uncomfortable is that it's all about this the main thing when I've been talking to people about this book is how it's the innocence of Bella looking at all these things that are happening with other mother, with a family, because the family is falling apart in front of her, and there's loads of things that are happening that she doesn't quite understand, and it's weird, and it's crazy, and it's, hello Peanut, yeah, and it's incredibly creepy and unhinged at how she's seeing all these things, how the parents are reacting to these things, because they are horrifying. But Bella, because she's so young, she's so innocent, she doesn't see the world as adults do. She is a child, and it's unnerving, to say the least, of how different the views are. But also at the same time, even though Bella is really innocent while all these things are happening, she's smart, she's intelligent, so she takes in what's happening around her. When people think she's asleep and they're just like talking to her and talking about all these things, it's bizarre. It is bizarre. The main I'm gonna do a little bit of a spoiler here, because when it comes to the ending, I can understand why people are really confused. So throughout the story, the families like run out of the house, and they go to different places, try and get away, and this entity makes its presence known, shows it to them, this horrifying, disgusting thing, as as it shows itself to be to the family, and even to Bella, which Bella originally thought other mother was her friend. And it comes to a point where Lewis, that this other character, she's kind of in it, but not really. She's pretty much she's into crystal. She doesn't really know what she's doing, but she tries to help. She's really the only person that tries to help this family, along with obviously Grandma Ruth. And the whole thing is very quickly known is about innocence of this child. And Lewis basically appears when they eventually have to go home, and drags the family away and says, think I figured it out how to get rid of this thing. We need to get rid of Bella's innocence. Not in the way that you're thinking, not in the way that you're going, but it was harsh to read how the parents sit down on a beach with Lewis and Bella, how they decide to tell her some things about their family that destroys her outlook of not only the family but the world itself, and it takes that innocence away from her by force at 8 years old. And eventually, obviously, Bella knows she's different. She understands that she sees and views things different in the world, just how her family does now, and other people who have witnessed other mother. And they eventually go home, and Grandma Ruth is in a car. Some things happen where the parents are upstairs asleep, and Grandma Ruth is filling out a puzzle with Bella. Bella's trying to stay awake, and Bella is falling asleep. And there's this whole spiel that comes from Grandma Ruth about how a heart is like a home. A heart has only a certain amount of rooms that a person can have in their heart, just like a house does. And how, you know, these spaces, how big and small do they look? Like, you could put a piano in a room and it could make the house seem bigger because of music. It goes into detail about all this stuff. And then some things happen where Grandma Ruth asks about Bella's heart. It goes into it quite in detail. Like a contract. Like filling out a contract would be better to say. Like really thrown in the deal, and then all of a sudden you hear Grandma Ruth screaming upstairs. And that's when she realizes the time that she spent with wasn't other mother. This didn't work. These people who destroyed her innocence by telling her certain things did not get rid of other mother. She's still here. And then her parents start screaming. And while she has her innocence lost in a certain way, obviously other mother's still around, but she hears her parents screaming. Grandma Ruth is quiet, and this will all make sense why I'm talking about this in a minute. And she goes upstairs, and her parents are face down in her room. And eventually, Bella's just like, "You go to sleep, Mummy and Daddy. No, I'll stay awake so we're safe." And basically, everyone's gone. Everyone's gone. And she eventually says yes to other mother. And people got confused by this whole thing because it doesn't tell you that everyone's gone, but you know everyone's gone. It's pretty much drives it home. But it's more the fact that what people think actually happened. Some people are just like, "Oh, she got possessed. That's the end of it. Sad ending." But some people think that other mother is basically a metaphor or the embodiment of the innocence that Bella has lost, with the understanding of everything that's told to her throughout the book by family and friends, that they think she's asleep when she's actually awake. They think it's basically her swapping out for another version of her. Like, she understands that she could be the kind Bella or she can be the mean Bella. And that's what some people think it takes on as well. It's not really an entity, it's just another version of Bella coming out into the world, because everything that she knows and has learned throughout this time is already taken away. So it's depends on what your kind of take is on it, to be honest. But I really, really fucking enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed it. It was fantastically written. The way that you can interpret the ending is brilliant. I would definitely want to read more of Josh Malerman for sure. But I just wanted to... I know it was a big spoiler to go into the ending, but I've missed out quite a lot because there's other things that happen in the book. So don't just focus on that bit that I told you. There's so much fucking shit that you need to read. I really enjoyed this book. Absolutely fantastic. Originally, I was like, meh with the ending, but when you go back and read it and you really like read in between the lines and the words, absolutely fantastic. Loved it to bits. Couldn't be happy with the book. I was worried because obviously it had such like, everyone was raving around about it last year, and I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad I read it, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I will read it again, and it has some really creepy bits in it, but there we go. That's it. There we go. Thank you for watching. Stay awesome, my friends, and make good choices in life. If you've read this book, let me know what you think about it. If you've got something similar, let me know. Badum, badum.